finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that.
How's this looking?
And
We're live.
forget the money. Because
¿Qué pasa, campeones?
say that getting the money,
You impatient campeones.
you will spend your life
Qué poca paciencia, campeones.
doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is to go
Make a motherfucker rush to get the churros out. Well, here I am, motherfuckers. Part 2
that is full of what you like doing.
of your Friday churros.
Way.
Let's get some shit going, huh? Welcome to the much anticipated, always hated, underrated, misinterpreted, Churros y Tácticas, Diego's reply to Kiyan's shit talking and questions. Apparently, part 1 consisted of that. I have not had the time to go through it yet. In fact, I thought it would be more fun if we go through it together. So, what you're getting is my reaction, full, unfiltered, raw and uncut. You already know. Reaction to Kiyan's part 1 and his questions. So Kiyan's, let's say he's putting forth the argument and he's awaiting the rebuttal. It's I just got back, I should say. I'm a little pooped out, peeps. Just had a long drive. Yes, indeed, it is Semana Santa. It is Holy Week. It's we're at the cusp of Pascua, Easter's to be celebrated, and there's Good Friday. Good Friday to everybody. It is Good Friday today. So for all of you religious fanatics celebrating, no, I'm just kidding. But for those of you that do, Good Friday, felices fiestas. Hope you're having a fine Semana Santa. We don't celebrate necessarily, but when we have the opportunity and option given to take a couple of days off, relax and unwind with the familia, then we take advantage of those days, even if we don't partake in the religious festivities. Grew up Catholic, but the traditions haven't, not all of them have stuck, right? Christmas and things have, but anyway. Video coming in, making sure, hopefully with this music as well. So, on that note, before I get into things, there is a massive delay between the music from when I hear it and I attempt to, say, rhyme over it. I say that because I had some beats that I wanted to play like this and just kind of freestyle over on the trot with the video going. But there's such a delay between when I'm actually hearing the sound and when I'm delivering the rhymes. So it's no es bueno. No bueno. No lo voy a hacer. I need to get a sound card so that I don't suffer those kind of technical issues. But hopefully the sound of Nina Simone Baltimore's coming through fine. With that being said, I had one more announcement before I wanted to get into things. So the community, disappointed, that's what I was getting to. I've been reading on the socials that some of you guys are disappointed that you're hearing this separate. Look, man, this one was mine to flake out. What can I say? Kiyan is flaked out in all of the prior ones. So let that be on him. This one's on me, no doubt. But like I said, when we have these days planned way in advance, it was a 2-night out. I'm back now on a Friday. You're getting your Friday pod. I wasn't going to bring all the stuff, all the equipment there. It was some quality time for the missus and me, Es lo que hay. You get what you get. And when I give a dog a bone, what I don't want to hear is how it tastes. Something along those lines, right? Locks talking 2 smoking barrels. When I give a dog a bone, don't tell me how it tastes. Something like that. Alright, motherfuckers. Let's get into it. So, I'm going to put Kiyan on. Kiyan on. And we're going to talk about these Barça Blues 0-4 4-0 at the hands of Madrid. Okay? Madrid. 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 Mad, rest in peace. It was a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. It was a tough one. And even though early on the sensations were good, man. I mean, I tweeted it out, right? I said the one time I take to Twitter, and I was feeling pretty good in that first half. I was feeling like, estamos plantando cara. We were giving it our all, with taking into account all the players that were missing. Any team that has four of their starters out, that is nearly at 50% capacity with regular players, is gonna feel there's a difference. It's gonna notice those absences. That shouldn't be an excuse at this stage, right? You want the team to be deep enough to try to withstand and combat those absences, key ones at that. And we did until the very last minute of the first half, where the whole plan just went to shits. And I don't know yet what Kiyan is going to say. If one of the questions is how maybe made out of crystal this team is, like, this team is fragile. Time and time again, the shortcomings at some point have to stop in these moments, in these games, right? And there have been a fair share, of course, in the Champions League, on the European stage, or at this stage in the competition. Not in the Super Cup, right? Not in the 3 past Clásicos. The team is able to be withstanding, and not just that, but also imposing their style of football with a very clear idea and executing it to maravillosamente bien. But then there are moments like this where key moments of a season, and we buckled. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let me give you an applause. Let me also remind you, an applause, well-deserved win, 4-0, historic. It's been a while, right? I read it was, you have to go all the way back to the 60s, 63 I think it was, the last time that Barça suffered this type of defeat at the hands of Real Madrid. Real Madrid. And you guys were, desperate. I mean, Madridistas were gagging for a win like this. I mean, I would love to know if finally Kiyan has been able to, like, that meme, the South Park meme where Stan's dad, what's his name, Mr. Marsh? Oh fuck, what the fuck's his name? He's just like with jizz, with the screens covered. He's got his fully jizz covered. Classic episode, that one of South Park. Why does he go abstinent? Like, he just stops jerking off or something for a long time, and then releases it. You know the meme or the GIF or whatever. Anyway, that's what I imagine Madridistas would have been like. It's been a long time coming. So congratulations, enjoy it. Bask in the glory, because these ones don't come. They come far and few for you guys. Here's an applause and a DJ horn and one more applause. And that's all you're going to get from me. So, actually, hold on, man. Let me put on my man M Fun.
Let's go.
A little M Fun. So, let's get into it. So look, I want to practice self-criticism. The psychological goal, as it's called in Spanish, just before the half. Send the team clearly in turmoil and chaos going into the locker room, because coming out, bing, bam, boom. What was it, Vinny, or Benzema rather? His first goal of his hat trick, right? Coming out of the second half. 5 minutes or so. And then which was a great goal. I saw that happen a mile away. I saw it coming. I was looking at, I was telling my wife, I was going, oh no. I'm like, this is going to be a goal. This will be a goal. You know, good goal, tap-in kind of goal, but good goal nonetheless. The penalty, of course, very clever penalty by Vinny. In what is very unfortunate for Kessié, because for me, he was having a very good game. And just a clever, you know, Vinny type of trick, forward type of trick. And it was over. It was over, man. I mean, it was over. It was over. So, disappointed. Definitely disappointed. Want to see better. Want to see this team get over these types of humps and really be ready to face these kind of tough tasks. I mean, you felt like, and then I swear I'll get to Kiyan. Just make sure. I don't know if the volume is all right, but I hope it is. But that what I wanted to say was, it feels like the team stops believing very quickly, you know, and that is something that, of course, we attribute to Real Madrid, and it's a character trait that they've been proving now in these recent years. That is something that is more than just a lema. It's really there within it, and that is that they keep believing, they keep fighting. You know, we were reminded of Chelsea last year when they went down, what was it, 3-0, and they knew that with just a goal, basically, they would draw the eliminatoria, the knockout round back level. And when Barça were down 2-0, you still felt, or me at least watching, I was like, look, what I don't want to see now is this team crumble, but rather continue to the way that we were playing in the first half, which wasn't, you know, lights out football, but it was definitely encouraging to see. I mean, we didn't create buckets of chances or any of that nature, but I felt like I was just feeling good. I was texting Kiyan, for crying out loud. I'm going, hey, hay Clásico. I'm like, this is a good game. I was proud of these boys and not, you know, being pushed back to our half like we were in the Bernabeu, but instead trying to impose our will with the players that we had, and it was encouraging. So I just felt like I was expecting that to continue in the second half. It didn't. In fact, the opposite happened. With the 2-0, you just felt like this was just, it was over. Like Madrid were going to run away with it, even though a goal would have, you know, forced extra time, and that's all we needed. So yeah, disappointing, man. Disappointing. Let me put on Kiyan, and then we can get into some nastiness, some shit talking. So I tested this before. You should be able to hear it. Okay. Mind you as well that I saw this coming, huh? And I want to play a moment here of my my infamous midnight monologue, where I actually state something big was going to happen. What were my words? You know, I'll try to look it up. I don't want to waste a lot of your time with me trying to find that moment, that soundbite where I say, I feel like something big is gonna happen. I said it with Kiyan, and I said it by myself. I told Kiyan even in the Monday pod. I said, I have a feeling that this Clásico is gonna go down in history, which it is. 4-0 in the Camp Nou, historic. It might be even by a big margin. Which way the coin will flop, I don't know. Flip or flop or fall. which way the coin will drop. And anyways, I guess I'm just kind of happy that my gut instinct proved me right. Unfortunately, you know, and I felt like it was Madrid's for the taking. Man, some of the fucking tweets on, you know, before the game, the no excuses tweets were coming from me, you know. Madrid looked better physically. They came with a better team. Momentum was on their side. They were fucking butthurt that we've been kicking their ass in the last 3 Clásicos. I felt like this was gonna happen. That's why even on the night, it didn't even feel that bad. You know, I told Kiyan, I said, look, let's record now, but because I was like, fuck it, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let me just do it. My wife was already half asleep, so she was like, just do the fucking bun. And but he had Managing Madrid pods anyway. You know, then the next night, last night I couldn't do it. I had commitments. So all that to say, that's why I'm recording now. All right. So, like I said, you should be able to hear this shit, man. I'm hoping that you will. Let's see. I almost feel like maybe I should stop it. Should I finish it and just make sure? I don't want to put out something where people are gonna be like, hey, we couldn't fucking hear Kiyan. What the fuck? 2 days fucking late and I'm fucking no time bing bong. And now I need to listen to this shit. What the fuck? Oh, here we go.
Hello and welcome to the
Alright. Okay. Alright, motherfucker. Let me turn this down. Alright.
Tacticas podcast.
That's the key.
Thursday.
That was the key. That was the Kiyan the Kiyan stands dad moment. Just orgasming. Jizz splattered all over his desktop, the mic. That's Kiyan. He finally got his moment. Man, that shit didn't last too long. You see? Canadian orgasms, man. He's lucky it wasn't a Latino orgasm. That shit would have blew the goddamn roof off of his house. Well, we're not that deprived. All right. Here we go. He got the R's out. Let's continue.
This is your host, Kiyan Sobani. And guess what? It's just me today.
What?
Because Diego Lorin has run away.
What?
For all the moments I have been accused for not showing up on the post-game Clásico podcast.
It's always him.
Look who has run off.
Can't believe he's doing me dirty like that.
But what was going to be in front of him today? Now, jokes aside, Diego actually can't record. We actually tried to line it up. We did our best.
Good Kiyan.
2 things.
I wouldn't have admitted it.
Friday, I can't because it's Easter and the kids are home. And today, Diego couldn't because he's out on holiday or something. He can explain that Friday. So the plan is I'm going to...
Here I am, baby.
Just basically... As
ready to rock
and
roll.
In his WhatsApp audio message, he said, throw me some alley-oops so I can slam that bitch home. That's what he said in the WhatsApp audio, word for word, verbatim. So I'm going to throw him some lobs here.
Gary Payton.
I'm basically just going to ask some questions.
Sean Kemp.
For most of you guys who follow my work, you've already heard everything I need to say about this game. We had a 2-hour Zoom call on Managing Madrid last night, and I also did a little mailbag today.
Dang.
I'm just going to ask Diego a few hitting questions.
Lasts longer.
And Diego's going to respond and also do his whole thing tomorrow, which is this. This is the podcast.
I really hope you
is
guys
like
can hear.
I don't know.
I think you can.
I'm just like the
I'll be so disappointed
opening act, the opener for the main event tomorrow. Tomorrow is when you hear the beats and the UFOs and whatever weird stuff that Diego likes. He's gonna do that big thing tomorrow. That's what he loves to do.
Yeah, it's a bit talking shit when he's away.
I actually secretly think he wanted to be on by himself tomorrow anyway because that's what he likes to do. I did
Kiyan
pitch to
thinks
him. I said,
enjoy this
because
more.
the last monologue you did was such a success. You should just add in a third solo Diego show that people can eat up.
I could do that. I am contemplating that.
Here are my questions, Diego.
I could do a regular solo for sure. All right, let's go, Kiyan. Hit me with it.
At what point
Gary
had
Payton.
enough?
At what point had I?
At what point?
Here we go.
Roma 2018. I think it was Liverpool 2019. Bayern. I can't.
Look,
I lost
man,
track.
it's
You know what I'm saying.
2015. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Knockout rounds, everything. Last night, Sergio Roberto said
Sergi.
When we conceded the second goal,
put some respect on his name.
Morale. Quote Ronald Araujo last night: "When we concede the second goal, the team falls over. We need to fix this. It's the second time that it has happened to us."
Yep.
What about Jordi Alba crying in the locker room at Anfield at halftime?
Hey, no.
At what point
That was
is
halftime.
enough for you guys? Where the mentality is so frail
Yep.
that as soon as something goes wrong in a knockout game,
Yeah.
it's like it's over.
What did I say?
Everything just collapses.
I mean, hit the nail on the head.
And you couple
Got
that
nothing.
with Real Madrid in knockout rounds, who have the reverse mentality,
Reverse. It's
where the tsunami arrives at some point. It's a bad combination, which happened last night.
Yep.
So you guys
Speaking the
gotta look
truth
at
here,
this
boys.
somehow and
Got nothing.
fix the psychology of the team
We
in
need-
these moments.
Come in.
That's really got to improve.
Yeah.
On the point about Araujo, here's another question.
All right. What's up?
I don't know. It's not really it's not a question necessarily, but more of just like some thoughts on Araujo.
Oh,
I think
how much
he's
you love him?
One of
badly
the
you-
best central defenders in the world.
No diggity.
The Vinny Araujo rivalry is just fascinating,
It was a good battle again, man.
and it's really exciting that we're gonna have this for years.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
I really thought that 2 Clásicos ago, the League One, which Barcelona won, that was a really good performance from Vinicius against Araujo, despite the loss. This one, Vinicius just was way better. His decision making was better. His dribbling past Araujo was better. Araujo was kind of all over the place. I did see a lot of Barca fans say that Araujo and Balde were their 2 best players.
Kessie and Kessie.
I won't
as
dispute
well.
it, obviously, but I also think Araujo was poor
Let me just finish here this
defensively,
point.
and even if you look at Vinicius' goal, the first one, the one right before halftime, he makes a mistake there. He converges on Benzema and leaves Vinicius free for the cutback. He should have just stayed because Cule was there. He left Vinicius free.
Yeah,
I think it's
very
a bad
annoying.
sign for Barca that
That's
you
what
could
I was
argue
saying.
their 2 best players
100%,
offensively
100%.
were Balde and Araujo, 2 defenders. That's not a good sign. When Araujo has to dribble the whole team and tank his way into the box to shoot, and that was one of your better chances, it's not a good sign. Obviously, first half Barca were better. Won't dispute it. But I think
it's an
Diego
option.
will agree tomorrow that Real Madrid thoroughly deserved this victory. I guess where I'm going with the Araujo point is...
Look, about the Araujo point, let me just start addressing that. Again, I hope to all you listeners that you are listening are hearing Kiyan's setup, because otherwise this pod is going to be sounding kind of funny, isn't it? Oh, dang it. So, look, I don't think I think it's. I get why Madridistas are celebrating this as like a victory from Vinny over Araujo. It would be hard to argue otherwise. I completely concur and agree that in that goal, you have Koundé and Araujo tracking, leaving Vinny completely wide open, tracking back and falling for this pass, unbeknownst to me why. I mean, it was a moment that you almost see happen like as if it's the Matrix. It just, time slows down. You're watching it unfold in front of your eyes and going, that's a bad decision. And it then end up in a goal. It was disappointing. I cannot sit here and defend moments like that and pretend that doesn't have a massive impact, and as if that isn't key in a game where these two teams are playing their ticket to the final, right? Everything that Kiyan said also with regards to the fragility. What did I say in my opening remarks? And here, again, full disclosure, transparency. I did not hear Kiyan. I didn't, opening part 1 speech. I didn't converse with him over WhatsApp a little bit, obviously, to set up the timing of the pod. Other than that, and saying, well, now that in terms of analysis, after the Clásico, I didn't speak to Kiyan about any of this, so I concur wholeheartedly. I mean, all the points he addressed, I addressed them, and that was just the first point. And I feel like, yeah, Balde was key for us offensively. It is a worry, no doubt, that offensively it seems like this team is not just dependent. I mean, very overly dependent. I mean, the dependencia in Levy to score goals is far too much. You don't get a sense now, mind you, as well. You know, offensively, the players that we're missing are starters, are star players, from Pedri, Frenkie to Dembus. They play a massive role offensively in our system, of course. But you want to see a team that, despite those absences, still has players that can come off the bench and help the team get over the hump, help them get a goal when they're 2 goals down. You can go 2 goals down against Real Madrid in these types of games, but there has to be a reaction, and there has to be a belief and a goal can come from somewhere, and we missed that, and you know, I would desperately want it to be Ansu, so desperately. You know, and Madrid have that, of course, with Rodrigo, the likes of Rodri, obviously Benzema now back in top form, coming off of the back of a hat-trick in 7 minutes, and now scoring one as well, first time, and also since, what was it, Puskás or something, or Di Stefano, since a hat-trick hadn't been scored in the Camp Nou by a Madrid player. Vinny, when he's feeling himself on a day like that and having the upper hand against Araujo, and as you said, rightfully said, that battle will be epic and, you know, one of the ages. And so all points that I have to agree with, man. You know, all points that I have to agree with. This team cannot rely offensively only on Rafinha and Lewandowski in a game like this. There has to be more. Which is kind of like why Kessie was sort of, for me, one of the better players, and he has been. Because he actually gives the team a lot more offensive abilities and options than I think he gets credit for. I think he's, you know, so often primarily viewed as a destructive type of midfielder, you know, more defensive. But even at Milan and everything, you know, and yeah, at Milan, he was very creative in the build up to their attack. So we need to improve. Let me continue. So yeah, wait, did I also address the fact that I am doing this way to give you guys sort of the feeling, the sensation as if we're having a conversation, Kiyan and I, seeing as there was some fury amongst the community, an uproar, some backlash from the Churros members saying that it's weak, we're recording separate. But like I said, it's just the way it is, and again, hopefully this will be an enjoyable listen for you guys. It is so for me so far. All right, let me continue.
We finally saw that he's not as cool and collected as we thought he was. And guess what it took? It took him getting owned for him to finally boil over and push Vinicius. And here's my fundamental problem and with what he said last night, where he said Vinicius spends too much time talking to our players. And
our
that's
fans.
why he pushed him at
and
the
he
end.
said our fans, which he does.
Vinicius was not talking any more than he did in previous Clásicos. You were okay with it in previous Clásicos because he wasn't owning you. Now all of a sudden things don't go your way. All of it's a problem now.
Maybe.
It was just great to see Barça lose their heads for once against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And just collectively melt down. It was also great to see Gavi just tantrum after tantrum. And I know that Diego is going to ask the question he always does. Why do you guys hate Gavi? Gavi lives rent-free in your head.
He really does. It is so true.
Diego.
He does so much.
This is the most simple answer I can give you.
Rent-free, man.
First of all, he's a Clásico villain, right? So,
sure. He's
similar to what
the guy
Vidal
that you guys
was,
can vent on. Luis Enrique, Vidal,
Suarez
Lucho.
was, what Alba was. And for you guys, it's probably, people like Ramos, Pepe, whoever else you have on that list from our side. It's normal. It's just it's part of a lot of this is banter, right? A lot of this is like, we'd like to have these players play for us. We hate playing against them.
I never wanted Pepe on my team.
But I think there's something different with Gavi. There was one sequence in particular.
He's better than any of the players you mentioned.
He's still a teenager, right? So hopefully, maybe in 5 years, Gavi is just a more composed figure, and it's just a different kind of player. Maybe not, because there was one double sequence in particular, which I think everyone has seen by now. The ball's nowhere close. He has no interest in where the ball is. He has tunnel vision. Two things happen off the ball. He runs and sprints and shoulder checks Camavinga and then shoulder checks Vinicius with zero intention to even play football. That's beyond banter, man. A lot of the stuff he does is just disrespectful and immature.
But
and
dude, it is exactly what... Let me stop. Casemiro, Ramos, Pepe. I mean, you guys were butchers, carniceros. And Gavi doesn't have that. Gavi he acts out of retaliation as well. For Madridistas to complain about a little Gavi shoulder checking instead of like putting the studs bleeding like a Ceballos makes Lewandowski's feet bleed, and a Gavi acting out of retaliation. A lot of this is Gavi's acting out of retaliation. You can call it like a Napoleon complex maybe that he has. He's definitely feisty, a little guy. He plays passionate, borderline, plays at the limit of football and everything. But don't talk to me about shoulder checking when you had these carniceros, the likes of Pepe, Ramos, Casemiro. Casemiro never getting a red card here in his time in Spain. Never. 2 months in England, 3 red cards? Not one red card, Casemiro, man. So this obsession, rent-free living of Gavi in your heads, Madridistas, is very, very funny to any Cule, especially when you hear this sort of stuff. Like, he's got to be careful, man. He's got to injure someone. Going around shoulder checking 2 meter fucking Camavinga. Give me a break. And Vinny has it coming. Vinny is nasty, if not the same way. He's, with Vinny... está muy lejos de ser un santo. So this is called a Clásico banter. Vinny will be that guy that culés can hate on and yell insults at. Normal insults, right? Normal people insults, not racist insults. Because he's that kind of guy. That's what he generates. Like the fury, the anger, the jealousy, if you will, amongst opposing fans. But if you're like the way you're going on about this, being like, he's dangerous for the game, he has to be stopped, shoulder checks. Come on, you're Canadian, man. Go tell a hockey player he's giving out shoulder checks.
Ramos and Pepe, whoever else you hate.
Carniceros, Ramos, Pepe, Casemiro, never red cards, and they leave blood, bro.
I don't know if this is being talked about. I don't know if this is a hot take.
Bloody
or not,
ankles, bloody toes, even Ceballos.
The reason why he keeps doing this is because he's allowed to. In what universe should Gavi still be playing until the 90 minutes? Araujo too, for
this
that
is
matter,
insane.
by the way.
This is insane.
But
Casemiro, never a red card.
Gavi
How
did
many
not
years?
get a yellow card for any of the stuff he's been doing.
How many years?
And here's the mother of all statistics. This is the mother of all statistics.
I want to skip.
This is the mother.
This is
the mother
very
herself.
aggravating. This is very
Xavi
aggravating.
has more yellow cards this season than Gavi. There's no way Xavi has done worse than Gavi. From a sporting standpoint. You have to punish this guy so he stops acting like this.
Casemiro, never a red card. Can we please move on? I mean, this is just infuriating.
I suppose
infuriating.
On some level, it just adds to the tension.
Infuriating.
And we've been asking for Clásico tension for a while.
That's it. Clásico tension. We have it. Here it is.
Yeah.
Venga. Next point.
I don't know if that was not a question for you, Diego.
It was not a question.
Answering
it's cool. Rebuttal.
Question you probably were asking.
Let's move on, huh? Let's agree to disagree, buddy. Casemiro, carniceros, butchers, years of butchery.
All this stuff, like
no cards, no red cards.
Focus on football. Why don't you tell that to your
needs
own
to
team
focus
first,
on
okay?
football.
Just because you lost,
no, you tell it to your team.
Badly,
you tell it to your motherfucker.
One-on-one and collectively doesn't mean you get to start pushing people and start calling.
Vinny pushes like. Behavior. Vinny is such a provocative.
Those are my
he provokes
to you, Diego.
All this stuff. He provokes it all.
I know mine.
He's such a provocative player.
It was intentionally short because
this is intentionally short.
I need to say for 2.5 hours or so.
I swear to God, this is a Canadian climax.
Stage is yours.
4-0, and he's giving me 10 minutes.
Talk about this, and it's nice to be on the other end of this. We finally got the goleada. You did jinx it. You did say in the pregame podcast on Monday.
You remembered.
Or Tuesday. That you have a feeling that this could be a night that Real Madrid finally humiliate Barcelona. I guess I will ask you one or two more questions. Talk to us through the roller coaster. Because you guys were better in the first half. You must have felt great. The Vinny goal right before halftime was obviously huge. And then the second half, the way that Real Madrid stepped on the field and the way Barcelona stepped on the field was completely different for whatever reason. But that Vinny goal probably was a huge momentum shift for the team's belief, maybe. But did you feel like it was going to be worse at any point than 4? I mean, Asensio had a huge chance, and I think Benzema had another big chance. But ultimately, I think 4 was fair. Like people who are saying 6, I mean the XG was like 2 point something, but 4 was fair.
The fuck out.
But did you feel like it was going to get worse at some point?
I was hoping it wasn't.
And I guess another question for you is,
stats. Let me look at the stats. Hold on.
I lost my train of thought.
Let me pause your ass. Take a moment to think about the last question. Let me look at the stats. Because the way I felt, no, I didn't really feel like there was much more coming. Obviously, after number 4, you do get this sense of when it rains, it pours. What can go wrong will go wrong. And oh God, let there not be no more. Prayers. But look, the stats here, 11 shots for Barça to 9 of Madrid. Shots on target, 5 to 7. Possession 53-47. Fouls, we committed 3 times the fouls, 21-8. Yellows 7-4. Quite honestly, I haven't really looked back. I mean, I what happens with these kind of games, when you're just like, yikes, yeesh. And we've had our share over the years, as Kiyan mentioned, in the Champions League. But I don't watch them back. I'm not sitting there like, geez, let me analyze this. Yeah, that felt shit. No. In the moment, I feel like I get very Matrix-like moments, capture sequences as they unfold and go, like I, reenacted before. Why the two of you backing off? Don't leave Benzema alone. And my wife's like, why are you talking like that? I'm so, yeah. What I'm trying to say, like, these moments stick with me. So I know in the night pretty clearly what went wrong. And, but I don't go back and watch it. Why am I telling you this? I don't know. Let me go back. There was one more question of Kiyan. While we're listening to some Bob Marley. Excuse me, Skip Marley. Go, boy. Finish your thought.
Yeah, maybe it'll come to me. I don't know. Oh, this was the question.
All right.
A lot of excuses. No Pedri, no Frankie. I get it.
What? Of course.
I get it.
You get it. 4 starters.
This is kind of the nature
missing.
of the beast. We've had so many Clásicos where we come in just completely wounded. I mean, this particular Clásico, we didn't have our only left back.
And we were missing like 50% of our squad.
Some
bro.
level of
Pedri,
plan B
Frankie,
without him. The team looks completely different without him. So, while it's an excuse that you don't have him, how is it that you just can't control any game without him? And what's the plan B, essentially, you know? Pedri's amazing, but I kind of worried about him in the sense that he went through that massive streak of playing like all the time when he was younger.
Yeah, that first season was
kind of like around the time of the Euros. And everyone was like lauding the lack of injuries, but it kind of, I mean, you know, wow, lo and behold, when you play him into the ground, he's gonna break down. I hope he doesn't, but I'm kind of worried about that. But Barca fans just kind of, I think, also not only look at the injuries, but also figure out, okay, what's the plan B, what's the plan C. And I think the biggest problem also last night was not Pedri, was the mentality. It was basically what happened to like PSG and Manchester City against us.
Yeah,
one thing
I addressed that, the fragility
like
and the mentality difference here is vast. I mean, the difference
are you ready
in
to
the mentality
admit now?
that is.
Who's the real golden boy? I know we've had debates about this. We've had Camavinga Gavi debates. We've had Modric Xavi debates. We've had Messi Cristiano debates.
Dude, Gavi was the MVP in the Super Cup.
Better than Xavi. Are you ready
what?
now?
No, also no. No, I'm not.
Except Camavinga
I'm not
is
ready.
better than Gavi. Be very curious to know.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. We're talking about a player that just a couple months ago was the MVP of the final of the Spanish Super Cup. As if that doesn't count. I mean, that was our first trophy this season. We demolished Helmagi. It seems like the funny thing now is like everybody's back on the Carlo bandwagon. You see what I mean? And I knew this was fucking gonna happen. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew that this could happen, right? Losing to Madrid at this stage of the competition with so many bajas, and yes, the fragility, everything that I addressed, the shortcomings of this team. This was always at play. It was happening. This was always a possibility, rather, an option. But from there to now take advantage and be opportunistic and say, do you now agree? Do you see it now? Are you ready to recognize? Don't you see? No, Camavinga's a nice player. Pedri is a fantastic player as well. Pedri is the golden boy. He's the Copa winner. He is the MVP of the final of the Spanish Super Cup. He is a regular starter with the Spanish national side, the youngest one to have debuted and scored with the Spanish national side. I don't know, he's up there. I think it's top 3, if not the first. So, no, I'm not willing to admit anything of the sorts. Other than, let's see how this unfolds, and we'll see how their careers pan out collectively from an individual standpoint as well. And may the better football player win. You know, right now, look. You want to say, are you ready to admit it's a tie? Sure. I think they're both very nice players. All right. Xavi brings out the best in Gavi. I don't know if Ancelotti is able to do that with Camavinga. But now it seems like everybody's back on the Ancelotti bandwagon. That's the point I was trying to make. When before it was Carlo out, now if he goes on to win the Copa, if he goes on to win the Champions League, they'll be like, oh no, in Carlo we trust. So even in the losses, and that's the difference here between Madridistas and Cules, I think. I'll speak for myself. Is that even in losses like this, do I still have trust in the process and trust Xavi in his methods, his teachings, his style of play, or at least what he's trying to build, which is a process, and I trust it. Just like the Sixers with this team, and you know, ride or die right now. Still, Team Xavi Neta, you know, 100%. And this loss is not going to sway it. I think if you would ask any Cule at the beginning of the season, hey, ¿dónde firmas? Would you sign this piece of paper that says that Barça is going to go on to win the league by 12 points and win the Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid in the final by playing outstanding football? You're going to go on to beat them back to back to back, and, you know, any Cule would have said, ¿Dónde firmo? Where the fuck do I sign that piece of paper? For sure. So we trust, man. Let's hope nothing crazy happens in La Liga, in this final tramo, this final stretch of the season. It's crunch time. I wish we could have won. I wish we played better in the second half. I wish, you know, we could have ruined Madridistas' lives by beating them again and advancing to the final, and instead be talking about a possible double and more glorious things to come. But instead, it is what it is. We got knocked out again. It hurts. It's the wound is salty. It's fresh. I'm pouring more salt on it. It stings. I want to see improvements, but you know, Xavi is gonna bring those, no doubt. So, and you know, Madridistas don't sing those same tunes or praises to their coach.
Can probably play every single position on the field better than
Camavinga, Gavi.
That's my hot.
Like I said, may the best one win.
Love you, Diego.
I'm Team Gavi. Love you too, brother.
Happy Easter.
Thank you, my friend. You too.
Dunks tomorrow.
All right, I'm dunking them.
Thanks,
I think
for listening to part
the
1.
jury
Part
will
2
give me a
tomorrow.
50.
Peace out.
Peace out, brother, man. Yeah, with this, I'm done as well. Not much more to add. Except that instead of 14 minutes, call it 15 minutes. I'm giving you another 47 minutes of glorious churros with the D-spot flavor. Little bit more held backish on the music because of the setup. You know, normally the reason why it sounds so good when I do a solo pod is because I run it through GarageBand. I record on GarageBand. So now I'm actually recording directly on my YouTube channel, and I'll post the private link into the Patreons only space on Patreon, and then you guys will watch it like that. All right, so drop your comments in the comment section. Of course, we'll continue this conversation as a duo come, Monday or Tuesday, the beginning of the week. As always, have a beautiful Easters for those of you that are celebrating. For those that are just celebrating life, have a beautiful life. Enjoy it. When you get a chance to chill out, chill out. Life is all about suffering, hard-ass work all the fucking time, and enjoying those little moments where you do get to focus on your loved ones around you, and just do whatever it is you want to do. So enjoy that. Get the energy from those moments. We are getting ready to rock and roll again. Heading into a weekend. I'm working tomorrow, but then a little bit of luncheon with the families. My parents are back this weekend, so we will see. And then Monday we have off, so we'll see. Whether it's Monday or Tuesday, we'll be back at the beginning of next week. Thank you guys for being patrons. Thank you guys for being patient. Thank you guys for your support. Unconditional. Spread the love, folks. We only grow, we can only grow with the help of you. Spread the word. Let your friends and loved ones who are interested in some banter and some creative entertainment, some creative content that is centered around football and the age-old rivalry, the best one, in my opinion, in football, that is Barça Madrid, Madrid Barça. Churros is here for you for any of it and all of it, okay? Keep supporting the pod. Love you guys. Have a blessed life. Have a blessed weekend. And we'll speak to you guys at the beginning of the week. Peace.